welcome,
Thank you.
everyone, and welcome to Miss Krista.
Hello.
I am Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and I am joined by Krista.
Hi, everybody. I am Krista Barone with Wicked Wisdom Consulting.
And welcome to Moment of Presence. So, for the last month, 3 weeks, we have been discussing life transitions. We have talked about death and grief. We've talked about career. We've talked about relationships. That was 3.
Aging.
Oh,
And
and aging. My favorite. And so now, today, we're going to be talking about what the heck do you do with all of that? We can be in it, but now what? And so that is what we're going to talk about today. Couple things first, like and definitely subscribe. Don't want to miss out on any of the episodes. We have lots of interesting episodes up and coming, and this is not our only live stream. You should definitely join us for Shockingly Delightful on Wednesdays at 12. Also, if you know of someone who this is a topic for them right now, they're going through some type of life transition and they're not already watching, then share this out to them or share it out after. And just, make sure that they know that there is help available out there, even if it is just somebody to listen to and get some tips and some tricks. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, when you join us, if you're joining us, those of you that are joining us, please make sure that you say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, so that we know, because we don't always get to see the names of who's here, and so we always like to know who's joining us. And if you have any questions or ideas for additional topics that you'd like, to be discussed, definitely add it in. So, with all of that said, why don't we do our deep breaths?
I was going to say we should probably start with them this week because last week we almost forgot, like for the first time in however many episodes we've done.
All right. So, perfect time because we have this really nasty storm on top of us right now. So, big deep breath in and hold at the top. And then a slow exhale. Drop those shoulders down. Bring in all of those thoughts and that are ruminating in your mind. Big deep breath in. Hold them and then let them go as you exhale. And one more deep breath in. Bring in that good prana. I didn't say good ass prana. And then exhale. Breathing is always good.
Is it? Is it not a component for existing and living?
It's interesting. I was doing a meditation and they were like, focus on the breath and think about how easy it is to not think about, like, your body just automatically does it. Yet if you don't breathe for a certain amount of time,
You yawn.
you yawn, or you pass through the veil. And so while it's something that we don't always think about, because we don't, it's something that automatically happens. Kind of like when you set goals and you then let it go, don't think about it, and then it happens because you just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're going to talk about, is how to move through life transitions and what you can do to make it easier to work through those transitions. You've been going through any life transitions specifically?
Oh gosh, I want to quote Couples Retreat so bad right now, where they're in the therapist office and she's like, "Well, right now, specifically, we're working on the house renovations." I'm always going through life transitions, let's be honest. I think we all are.
Yeah, I would say that every day is a life transition. We're never the same person we were the day before.
I know that's right.
And I think that's something that people forget about. And so it doesn't hit us until it's something like really big and then it smacks us in the face. But in all honesty, every day is a transition.
Hmm.
And what we should be focusing on is just being better than we were the day before,
Hmm.
being in a better space than we were the day before. And one of the other things is not beating yourself up if it's a bad moment.
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of people talking about, well, it's a bad day, it's a bad month, it's a bad year. Is it? Is it really? Or was it a bad moment within the day or within the week or within the year? And so it's a distinction that we need to remember to make, because otherwise we allow it to define our life.
Hmm.
And when we think about life transitions and moving through life, it is a journey. There are going to be ups and downs. I was talking to a client last night and I literally took out, I don't have it right here, but I took out my mini baseball bat, but I'll use a pen. And instead of, going like this with life, it's
Hmm.
more about bringing it to like a ripple, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a tsunami of emotions and change. It's just this like ripple, and your
Yeah.
response and your response to those changes. That's all. It's just this little ripple of time and a little ripple of emotion, but we don't go so far to the opposite end so that we're rocking the boat and turning it over and sinking our boat.
Mhm.
So, going with the flow, going downstream, we hear a lot of people talk about that,
Hmm.
going downstream. That's what we have to do with life transitions, is
Hmm.
acknowledge where you are on the journey. Don't beat yourself up for wherever you are, and just move through it, flow through it. When we resist change is when we have the emotions that come up, the tidal wave of emotions, the temper tantrums. That's when things get really hard.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting because you had said, um, maybe a few minutes ago now, but you had mentioned, you know, when things come out of nowhere and we have some sort
Mhm.
of life change, life transition that happens that we didn't see coming. And I think it's interesting because there's so many things. I think it's actually harder to find examples of life changes and life transitions that we did, that we, it's harder to find examples that we truly didn't see coming because, like, even thinking back to your mom passing, for example,
Mhm.
there were a lot of signs now that we look back that we could have noticed that that was coming. Someone that we mutually know got an injury recently. That was pretty expected for the people that were from the outside looking in. We kind of anticipated that was going to happen.
Mhm.
When someone gets into a car accident, I knew I was going to get one. Back when I worked a job that I shouldn't have been working at anymore because of the emotional toll that it was taking on me, I knew something was going to happen. I knew something was going to be coming, and then I got in multiple car accidents that,
Right.
for the record, were no fault of my own. When someone gets fired, you really can see it coming. When your
A-
kids move out, you know
Absolutely.
they're going to be moving out at some point.
Right.
Um, so I think it's actually harder to not see something coming just because of the way that life works. And
It
resisting those things
Mhm.
is what makes them actually end up coming to fruition in many cases, like my car accidents that I got in, or someone breaking their ankle because they're trying to do too much, or we've known a lot of people that that's happened to. That's such a classic example when you're putting too
Mhm.
much on your shoulders, and then an ankle breaks, a muscle gets pulled, your back tweaks up, your wrist.
Yeah.
There's so many different things. It's really in this perspective not a huge thing that happens, but it slows you down
Right.
so you can kind
Right.
of anticipate that it's coming.
Yeah. And sometimes we not sometimes we don't resist it. We just ignore.
Well,
We
you could
feel
argue
it.
that those are one and the same.
Well, this is true. This is true. We can think that we can beat it.
Yeah.
Haha. I'm not going to allow that to happen. And we can beat it. The thing to remember is law of attraction. And once you put something out there, the wheels are in motion.
Hmm.
And that's not to say like you mess up and you say the wrong thing, because words matter with law of attraction. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I said something wrong and now everything that I had planned good coming to me is going to go away. It doesn't work like that. It's the energy you're putting out. So it's not just the words that matter, it's the energy behind those words. And so, you know, we all have a bad moment. We all have a bad day. It's cool. Um, yeah, if anyone notices our connection being a little skippy, because I noticed Krista's was skippy, and Krista's telling me I'm skippy. We're skippy. We are in the middle of a bad storm. So if
Yeah,
you
I think
lose
it's
us,
just Alec.
yeah, if you lose us, we'll be back. Or it's somebody saying hi from the other side. So, haha, hi. But anyway, uh, the important thing to remember is that what you put out is what you're going to get back. And so if you know that there's a life transition, you feel it happening, you know in your gut that something is changing, and changes are every day, you set the tone in your mind and in your heart. I'm just going to flow with it. I'm just going
Yeah.
to flow with it. I'm going to go with whatever comes my way. I have a saying that I actually have right here on my desk on my wall, which is, what else do I need to know, be, and perceive to continue to receive what's best for me and even more? That doesn't say I only want to receive good stuff. It's just saying that, what else do I need to know? And then like the world comes to me and I manage with grace, love, and faith, whatever comes to me. Because the other thing to remember about life transitions is that old, fable story, where is it good, bad? I don't know. And so we may think that a life transition is bad and, oh my gosh, it's horrible. And how am I going to get through this? And in reality, it's what we asked the universe or God, it's what we already asked for 3 years ago. And now it's finally happening, but it can't happen if we're staying in the same job.
Hmm.
It can't happen if we're staying in the same relationship. It can't happen if we never go outside. Like, we have to go outside of our comfort zone, whether that's our house or it's an actual comfort zone that we're hiding in. We have to move through things to get to other things.
Hmm.
So a lot of this is going back to the basics of law of attraction and everything that, we know to be true, about the journey. You don't just pick up your canoe, and put it at the end and go, okay, I've reached the end, because you missed out on life. It's just a matter of how you respond to the changes, respond to the transitions.
Well, so this is a great moment for me to ask what should people do in these moments? And I know we've talked about them on all of your different shows over the weeks, but what do you offer particularly to help people through these things? So
Well, the
maybe some
first thing,
general and then specific.
and good afternoon, Raymond. I think he's our star. He's like our number one fan. And by the way, Raymond went live last night and I missed it, but I will be watching it today. But Raymond also goes live, so make sure you check him out. Um, so the first thing that I suggest to always do is acknowledge where you are and acknowledge your emotions and your feelings around where you are right now. Not to shame, blame, or, just know where you are
Hmm.
and accept it. And if life feels like it's a shit show right now, okay, life's a shit show right now. What can I do? How do I want life to be? And so
Hmm.
getting curious about what is it that you want? What's missing? What is it that you don't have that you would like? And, again, this goes back to shooting off your rockets of desire, but what can you do to then get to that point? What has to happen in order for that to kind of unfold?
Hmm.
And so, what I do specifically with clients is help prepare them and take them through this journey of uncovering what it is that they want. There's a lot of clients that'll come to me and say, I'm getting older. I'm about to lose my job. I don't know what I can do. What's next for me? And it's like, all right, well, whether we're in our 50s or 60s, we're not like, shriveled up and just going to go sit inside in a rocking chair. That's
Yeah.
not the way the world works anymore. And so it's more about almost taking an inventory and what is it that you want to be doing for the next 10, 20 years? What
Right.
did what have you enjoyed doing? And then how can we create something? What does that look like? And so it's expanding and thinking outside of the box instead of, okay, this is the box that's I've been in or someone put me in, and if I can't get out of that box, why? And then helping clients, what I do is help clients go through that fear, because that's usually what it is
Hmm.
fear holding them back. Why are you not moving forward? Why haven't you moved forward? Especially when you see, let's say, a career transition or a relationship transition coming. Why
Hmm.
is it that you held back? Why did you not take action
Hmm.
when you first felt a shift?
Hmm.
Why not? I'd be okay with that, maybe. Yeah. Probably not. Exactly. Because you have to always ask yourself, is this where I want to be?
Hmm.
And if not, where do you want to be? And if you never get there, what is that going to cost you? What is that going to cost you in the end if you never accept the change? If you're constantly resisting it? And so those are some of the questions when I say get curious, you start asking.
Hmm.
Any questions?
No, I'm tracking with you. Now, how do you do that with your clients? I guess would be my next question.
Well, I mean, with my clients, it's about
This is
taking
me
them.
specifically asking what you have to offer for people to get started working with you.
I know. Um, so what I offer is to work with my clients either on a monthly basis if it's one thing in particular that they want to work through.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, there is a cause for being in that situation and feeling like you can't handle it yourself.
Right.
And we may have to dive into that. And then there is a 3-month option that I also will suggest for certain people that need that. And not everybody needs that, but that is a deep dive. It's going into the emotional aspect. and I do the 3 months. There's content that goes with that. It's weekly coaching calls, and that's a deep dive. And I handhold those clients through that because it's a slippery slope, and I want to make sure that everyone, comes out the other side understanding themselves like they've never understood themselves before,
Hmm.
and they're super comfortable and accepting. So it's radical self acceptance and radical self love.
Gotcha. And those 3 months now, is that like 3 months and then they have to do another 3 month package, or after that, I guess I'm using the word package lightly, but after that, can they keep doing coaching with you regularly?
Yeah, I have actually, they can do the one off, like, oh, I'm good. And then something happens, like, you're dealing with, let's say you got through life transitions and now Chris comes along and knocks you on your booty because you are depressed and you're down because things have changed. It's not the way it used to be. Maybe the kids aren't coming home. Maybe you're alone for the holidays, whatever. And if you kind of need a touch up, if you will, then you can do a month of coaching. And then I also the Odonata community where they can come in and have monthly coaching or monthly weekly coaching, and it's in a group environment. And so now you have a community of people that are going through similar situations, and we're all working through it. Um, and yeah, there's one-on-one coaching on an ongoing basis, month to month, if that's what you want. Um, so I really tailor it based on what I hear the person saying
Hmm.
they want, because a lot of times what we say we want, we don't really understand what we really need. Because if we
That's so
did, Yeah, because if we did, we wouldn't be reaching out. And so I'm very honest and open. And if it's not my expertise, if I'm not a subject matter expert in what you need, I am going to make sure that I refer you to somebody who is and who's going to get you where you want to be. So,
I would find it
that's
hard for you not to be a subject matter expert, and I can't really think of anything that you're not because of the life that you've lived thus far.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of transitions. There's been a lot of transitions in the last, I would say, what, 3 years. The transitions have been coming, and these are big transitions, not little ones. Having a parent, an in-law move in with you, that's a life transition.
Hmm.
Becoming a caregiver for somebody that is getting older and not able to do as much for themselves, that's a transition. um, Kids getting married, and yes.
Well, not even so much recent, but I mean, we're also talking about, you know, you've been through the corporate experience, you've been through me and my cancer journey, you've been through medical scares, you've been through tumultuous
Mhm.
family situations, been married for almost 4 years.
I know, I did the math the other day. We've been together for 39 years.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And there's been transitions within the marriage, and
Right.
that's something else. Is There's going to be, as your marriage extends, and the longevity of your relationship, there's going to be shifts within the marriage.
Hmm.
And this is the thing that always surprises people, is that, well, both people need to go to therapy, both people need to change. Not So it's how you perspective shift, which then affects everybody around you. And
Yeah.
so, same thing with, there's people that, call and they become clients, or they want to talk, and it's well, I want to change careers. Well, do you really? Or are you running from something? And what are you from? Because when you run from something, it's what follows you. The same thing you were running from because
Yeah.
you take yourself everywhere you go. So if you don't clean up what it is you think you need to run from, you're just bringing it with you and you're going to recreate it in a new situation.
Mhm.
So you have to make sure you work on yourself every single day
Yeah.
and understand where it's coming from. So asking those deep questions. And that's what I love teaching people how to do
Yeah.
is getting in touch with them. They can handle life so that they can enjoy life, the good, the bad.
Yeah. Well, and I think too with coaching in particular is, I'm someone who constantly, there's not a second that goes by analyzing myself and constantly introspection. I mean, especially for a person like me, is you kind of get lost in the shuffle. You get lost in all the information. You get lost in the process itself. And so whether you're me or you never do self interest, either way, a coach is going to help you nail down a path and follow that so that you're constantly getting lost in the weeds and kind of turning,
Mm-hmm.
going in circles. Because, I mean, we've had plenty of situations even where you kind of end up, well, this is true and this and this is true. Well, then how do I? And so now you're like on this carousel of
Mm-hmm.
coach help keep you along. That path is going to shift and it's going to change and it's going to flow. But at least you have a path to pull on, just try and figure out where the path is and also stay on.
That's because you can get and you can go and detour to the original path back where you want. So there's okay, that is holding the person accountable. Remember, end goal. We're working toward it. Make people, to that your heart, you know, your heart, and it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but you're moving forward. So hard you
Yeah.
to your stuff.
Yeah.
So that's people for
Anyway, connection is, I think this form is going to get worse before.
yeah.
So they want to put links on your app a little bit because I don't know if it's good earlier or sooner than.
Yes, and there'd be other life trip or is happening. If you want to go to com, uh, if you want for the Odonata community, you should doc, media, the links right now. Books.com, you can get to me. Book take you through all the different options and which one is for you. Um, so where can they find
Is the Odin we first talked about it. It's been moved up to
you? Yes.
call. Um, email and we'll see mocom/community. Want to not to do the community, if one-on-one coaching would be better for you, that's where you can go to mokshgrace.com/, which is now as well. And that's where guys will have a conversation and figure out one program better, or one prescription, or coaching, which is better for what you're needing at the time. And you may come to depending on what you need.
Right.
Wants to find me, you can find me at wickedwisdom.com, and Facebook, and fractional COO and consulting services. So if you need, shoot me a message, let's meet on a call, and see what we can do.
Absolutely. So those of you that are in Florida, stay safe. Weather looks like and for everyone else, wonderful, and we will see